Good Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to GardenStateWeather.com, GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith, providing superior forecasting for the northern mid-Atlantic region. And this is the daily video forecast discussion looking out your window on Wednesday, May 6, 2020. First, I want to say happy belated, I want to say happy birthday to my mother, who passed away some 10 years ago. And this time of the year, she loved these earbuds coming off the trees in the breeze. And it's May 6th, and it's a spectacular day. It's my mother's birthday, and it's also, a time to reflect on some of the things that my mother has done for me over the past 40-something years before she passed away 10 years ago. So this video forecast discussion is dedicated to mothers out there, and especially my mother for her birthday, and a number of other people's birthdays that I know are going on today too. So if you have a birthday today, it's a special day. This is the daily video forecast discussion for this Wednesday, May 6, 2020. Looking out your window this morning or getting outside, you know that it's breezy and chilly. It's kind of raw day outside today. Lots of variable cloud cover around the region. And not too much precipitation just yet. We may fill in with that just a little bit later. If we take a look at the temperatures this morning, they are currently at 10 o'clock this morning at around the upper 40s to low 50s, and this is pretty much where they're going to stay for the rest of the day, maybe just a degree or two above that. This morning we started out with lows again in the 30s. This looks suspect to me, but Walpack is in the valley, so it's not surprising that they were 31 this morning. As the cloud cover was very thin in nature at that point, so that allowed for some radiational cooling in the valley there. Other temperatures were generally running in the low 40s to mid 40s across the area, maybe southern New Jersey, right around 50. And once again, right now, the temperatures are, hit the button. Right now, temperatures really haven't risen that much. Wind speeds right now, well, that's the reason. The marine air mass is in place. Winds are all off the ocean at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. We do have a few wind gusts here as well, and we pull this up. Okay, wind gusts here about 10-15 miles per hour in the north and a little bit lower in the south. Now, let's see. Let's take a look at the radar real quick here. If we can do this, let's take a look at the radar. There's some scattered showers around the region, mostly off the coast. A few here in the upglide of an easterly wind here off the ocean, and a few more down to the west. We'll get into a larger picture in just a moment. New Jersey CoCoRaHS station's not really reporting anything here in precipitation. I mean, if you had a fourth of a hundredth of an inch here, 4/100ths of an inch, or a third of an inch here in Cape May County, that would be a lot. But everybody else, pretty much, it looks like it's going to precipitate, and there are some echoes here on the radar, but not really much is falling. Morning surface chart from weatherono.com and Digital Atmosphere Software have lots of complexities here going on. We have high pressure across the Midwest, a snaking, nearly stationary front here across the Intermountain West and across the Colorado Rockies. Lots of prefrontal troughs and trough extensions here. Another cold front getting ready to move into the west coast of Oregon and Washington. Let's see, some scattering showers here in Texas. We'll get into that in a minute. High pressure across the northern plains. Here comes another cold front here. Another cold front just about nearly stationary here across southern New Jersey and central Jersey this hour. And the winds roll out of the northeast here and out of the east here as well, because we have another trough extension with another low here over the Carolinas, draped down through the Gulf Coast here into extreme southern Texas, and a secondary cold front here. So we got lots of little troughs and cold fronts moving through in the polar stream over the next couple of days. In fact, if you ask my opinion, we're in for unsettled weather, mostly on the cool side. Some showery periods and intervals of showers over the next several days right into the weekend. Now it's not going to rain all the time, and there'll be breaks of sunshine in between, but this tells me here that nothing's really going to be splendid. There's not going to be complete splendor in your forecast going forward into the weekend. And once again, we'll start out with the low-level water vapor. This is the channel in the atmosphere that shows us the amount of available water vapor here in the atmosphere. And it's a broad spectrum look here. Lots of cold fronts coming through southern Canada. A couple of disturbances here. Here's an upper level low here. And if you noticed here, in the lower levels of the atmosphere, it's relatively dry with all the yellows in the sinking air. We had a little bit of convergence or divergence actually aloft in the atmosphere here as this cold front is making its way off the east coast now. It's getting hung up over the Gulf here with showers and thunderstorms, but most of this is in the Gulf now. And just a few, and notice all this dry air here. Very hot conditions once again continue in southern Texas, most of Mexico and the Baja as well. Here comes our next storm system. This is an upper level low here into Idaho and into Washington here and Oregon. And this is dragging a new cold front here on shore. And there's another storm system just right behind it. So this flow looks pretty active to me, especially here with blocking here over Scandinavia from our upper level low here over Nova Scotia. And just a series of cold fronts that will be moving and diving in through this flow over the next several days right into the weekend. If we took a look at the visible satellite imagery, and we'll just stop this now at the end here. Try to stop it. Oh, it won't stop. Guess it won't stop. Yay, we got the loop to stop. So you see a series of cold fronts here and disturbances, upper level low here, another low here. This one wants to merge with this one. So it looks a little busy here, but most of this cloud deck is mid to high level clouds. So middle level clouds actually is what it looks like to me. This is a little cold air advection clouds in here, a little cold air advection clouds in here, and a little cumulus clouds down into the Gulf here. But this doesn't look too major either on the satellite view this morning. It's very early across the west coast and of course across Texas as well by 2 hours. So it's 8 o'clock here. It's probably like 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock here. 7 o'clock. Yeah, 7 o'clock now. 7 a.m. in the morning here on the west coast. If we looked at the composite radar, come on up, composite radar. Yeah, there we go. Here's a smattering of precipitation. Let's try to play this now. Play it out here with our upper level low here, our surface low here. So eventually these two will kind of, marry, together, amalgamate, if you will. Here's some thunderstorms here over Texas, but most of this is heading into the Gulf right now. We'll take a look at the Storm Prediction Center in just a moment. And these are false echoes in here, but this is real precipitation coming into Washington and Oregon at this time. Checking in with the National Weather Service offices here, we have some coastal flood advisories, and this is basically in these areas of green here. This is for inundation of water from 6 p.m. tonight through 12 midnight along the tidal cycles, and this is for the low-lying areas with 1 foot of inundation of water. But this doesn't look too major, but we'll monitor this. And of course, we have the hazardous weather outlook here in northwestern New Jersey. Let's take a look at that, and that also extends into Pennsylvania and portions of the Baltimore I-95 corridor. And that's basically calling for temperatures to drop below freezing Friday night and Saturday, and the winds may reach advisory criteria on Saturday with scour powder outages. Oh dear, and tree damage possible. Just what we need, right? In this state, just what we need. And of course, this week, to add insult to injury, it is the Hurricane Preparedness Week, May 3rd through the 9th of this year, 2020, on top of COVID and everything else that we've got going on here. So, you want to check this out. You want to go to weather.gov/WRN/hurricane-preparedness. National Hurricane Preparedness. Back to the Storm Prediction Center's mesoscale analysis from the RAP model. Here's our surface low now off the Virginia coast, the Atlantic Ocean here with their upper level low here across western Pennsylvania. These two are going to merge together, and if we move this together, you can see the merger here over the next couple of hours. So, through the next 6 hours or so into the afternoon, that's what the forecast model wants to see right now. Let's take a look at, and everything else is just like spotty in nature here. Well, this convection here is off of the Gulf Coast here, not to worry. High pressure across the Midwest here, and a new storm system once again coming into the Intermountain West and portions of California. Let's see, convective outlook. Nothing looks severe to me at this point, and the National Fire outlook, it looks like it's going to be elevated around Alabama and Georgia and portions of southern Florida where it's been very dry, portions of Colorado, New Mexico, Idaho, and Arizona. National hazards today across the Virginias here, Western Virginia anyway. We have some freeze warnings in effect for tonight and tomorrow morning. Here in the Gulf regions, not the Gulf, but the southeast, northern Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi here. In the northern portions, we have some high wind watches here, or wind advisories at best. And then to the south, we have red flag warnings where it's been very dry. And also across portions of Colorado, high wind warnings here scattered about the upper Midwest here into the Colorado Rockies, and of course the Northwest as well. Some high wind advisories or wind advisories and heat advisories here. These are red flag warnings here in Southern California and Arizona, and that's because everything is so dry and so hot. Time temperatures this morning at around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock this morning, actually around 9 o'clock this morning Eastern time, or 13Z Zulu, Zulu time. Very cold here across the Hudson's Bay area into Canada where it's been. It's also quite chilly here in the Northeast, and all of the Midwest actually is quite chilly this morning. But don't forget, it's like, this is like 9 o'clock in the morning. And where it is warm across the Gulf Coast regions, Florida, the Gulf Coast, southern Texas, and of course already temperatures are starting to rise, and it's like, 7 o'clock in the morning here in Mexico and 7 a.m. in the morning, so it's going to rise, don't worry about it. Wind chills. Well, feels chilly here, and naturally in the valleys and hills here, and of course across the upper Midwest and portions of the Colorado Rockies where it's chilly. But there's no wind chills here in southeastern United States, including the Gulf region, Florida, Mexico, Texas, Baja, Arizona, or California. 24-hour temperature change here. Well, where it's been raining a little bit, it's cooler this morning since about the 9 o'clock this morning or so. It's a little warmer here, but not really too impressive anywhere, if you ask me. And from the Weather Prediction Center through May 13th, ending at 8 a.m. This was initialized this morning from the Weather Prediction Center at 12Z. You can see where the swathing of heavy rainfall is going to be, and that would be across the Gulf into southern Texas, actually the southern Florida here, central and southern Florida, so it can be quite wet here. This is over the next 168 hours, so the next 8 days or so. Not too much rainfall here in the northern Mid-Atlantic, especially across the northeastern United States. Very little here across the Great Lakes, and a swathering of 1 or 2 inches in the mountains here, Washington and Oregon, the Cascades, the Olympia Mountains here, and down through a little bit of the Rockies here. This doesn't look too impressive to me either, but here in portions of Mexico, especially around Cancun and Playa del Carmen, your resort areas here, this is where the rainfall start to accumulate by several inches. Storm, actually Climate Prediction Center's 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day temperatures. This, of course, initialized yesterday, Tuesday. They're, not going to update this until today, but not much has changed. Where it's been hot, it's hot. And where it's cold, it's getting colder here across the Northeast and the east of the Continental Divide here. And this is from Monday, the 11th through the 15th, and the 8 to 14 day moderates significantly. We looked back at 6 to 10 day from yesterday. They're thinking that this cold air in the south naturally would retreat at this time of the year. In the 8 to 14 day, it shows that it does, but we're still cooler than average here from the northern plains all the way into the eastern United States, and it begins to cool down again once in California, where it's now very warm. And it also warms up here across the west. So, this is yesterday's forecast for this period. And from Monday, the 11th through the 15th, on the precipitation scale, not much here in the east, more so in the west, especially California and Oregon and Washington. 8 to 14 day forecast. Also, Florida looks wet too. Florida continues to look wet in the 8 to 14 day here from the 13th through the 19th. And this is a wide swath of rainfall here with the heaviest amounts over California. And of course, the Mississippi, Ohio, Tennessee River Valley area here as well. Next up, we're going to take a look at the national high temperature forecast for the next 10 days using a blend of the National Digital Forecast Database's temperatures here. Find high temperatures today in the 80s and 90s in the south, and of course the hundreds here in portions of Baja and Southern California, Nevada, Texas back into the 80s. So it's cool here in the northeast with temperatures generally running in the 40s and 50s. That cold air is going to try to sneak back in eventually, but look at the temperatures for tomorrow nationally on Thursday, May 7th. Again, in the 90s, hundreds here in the desert southwest, the Baja California, and also large chunks of Mexico as well. Day 3, cold air rebuilds across the region on Friday. We'll get into the forecast in just a moment. And that's May 8th, so you see where all the heat is, that's where it's remaining, and where the cold air is, or chilly air, that's where it's remaining as well. And that forecast just looks bitingly cold, about 20-something degrees below normal here in the northeast as we head into Saturday, May 9th. So that's frost and freeze warnings. These are high temperature forecasts, by the way. We didn't get into the low temperature forecast. That's why the frost and freeze warnings may go into effect across portions of the Hudson River Valley, Connecticut, parts of New Jersey, and definitely parts of Pennsylvania on Friday night and Saturday morning. Things cool off just a little bit, but notice the heat is still in the desert southwest, and where it's been warm, again, it's going to continue to get warm, and that heat continues in the desert southwest all the way up to the western coastal divide here, and the temperatures are still quite cold across the north central states into the northeast on Sunday. Monday, not too much better. Temperatures still cool across the northern states, very hot across the southern states. No change there. No change on Tuesday, May 12th either. Very cool air in the north and very hot and warm air in the south, although it looks like it's going to cool down just a little bit, but still, temperatures could be still over 100 degrees in the Baja and portions of Mexico at this time of the year. And the trend continues on Wednesday, May 13th, and on Thursday, May 14th. We're starting to warm up, but we're still below normal here in the northeast, but we're starting to warm up, and the heat just continues in the desert southwest, the southern states, and across the Baja and California. And of course now things finally break on May 15th, where temperatures get back to normal here in the northeast, where temperatures are in the 60s and 70s. That's about normal. Normal highs at this time of the year are in around 70, 71, 72 degrees. So, you know, it's going to take at least 10 days to get there. We did this yesterday. We'll do it again. This is the European Model Guidance's 2-meter temperature anomalies. This is, at the surface. So you see where it's cold here in the northeast? Yeah. And in the eastern United States in general. Well, this trend just reloads and reestablishes itself 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 degrees below normal. Saturday's downright cold here. 15 to 20, 25 degrees below normal. Across the northeast to central plains, east of the continental divide. It's just cold, but where the heat is, it just continues to get hotter. 10, 20, 30 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. And that trend continues over the next 10 days, where it's just reloading these polar and possibly some Arctic modified air masses here into the United States. So Monday, May 11th looks cold here again in the east, very warm in the desert southwest and west. And again, the trend, if you're looking at this very closely here, nothing, there's a couple of surprises here on the West Coast as we head into early next week, but even that changes. But, if you're focusing here on the East Coast, which you are, there's going to be a variation of temperature anomalies here, and most of them, to me, if you average this out, look colder than normal. You're going to have to get out to 10 days here. Probably by May 15th, May 16th, before you find temperatures near or above normal again in the eastern United States. But until that time, lots of reloading of chilly air here. Brand spanking new off the hot press here is the 12Z model run of the NAM model guidance here for the northeastern United States. Notice everything is cloudy but dry here. And here's our upper level low spinning over portions of Pennsylvania here. And most of the shower activity is going to be light and spotty. There'll be some, continuation as this low begins to merge with the surface low off of the Virginia coast right now and off the Atlantic, but doesn't look like a lot of precipitation, if anything, is going to fall in this area. And this cold air advection coming in on Thursday on a west to northwest wind, and another cold front coming through. Now, this cold front is going to be for Thursday night and Friday, and this is going to be preceded by a warm front. So we could have some scattered showers around the region. Again, this doesn't look impressive to me, but there could be a few scattered showers around the area, some pesky showers. And then here comes the next system into the area as we head into the weekend here, which is, let's see, this is doing the 12Z run. Okay, now it's backing up here. It's backing up to the 6Z run because of the fact that it's not completed its cycle yet. Hold on one second. We're going to switch on over to the GFS 12Z run, which is now coming in. Actually, no, that's from yesterday. Okay, back to the GFS here. It has a more southern track here with some snow in Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. This looks a little suspicious to me here, so I'm going to check this out. Nothing seems to be working this morning, so we're going to look at the European model guidance from last night. Here comes the next warm front, cold front with showers and some rain around the area. It could be little strong showers here. I don't know if it's going to be convective or not, and there could be some wet snow here mixed in across the higher elevations, about 1,000 feet up here across the Poconos and northwestern New Jersey into the Hudson River Valley up to Connecticut and Albany too. That would be for Saturday night and Friday night and Saturday, and then it moves off the coast in northwest flow. Downsloping the winds of Kingston, Ottawa, Toronto, Lake Erie, snow flurries. Can you believe it? At the higher elevations, but I wouldn't be surprised if people saw snow flurries in northwestern New Jersey and the Poconos on Saturday morning. And it's just cold, tries to modify a little bit. And the next system comes in again in the polar flow with some scattered showers again around Monday, so clouds increase once again. We dry out on Sunday, and here comes the next batch of showers across northern New Jersey on Monday, May 11th. That moves out, northwest flow again, and another disturbance moves through, minors out. And as we get into late next week, the 14th and 15th, here comes another very dynamic cold front through the area. And temperatures by this point will have risen substantially to near normal, so this is a macro scale environment here, but this is a strong cold front, and the air behind it out of the northwest is chillier as well, so, we're in for lots of activity, mostly in the form of scattered showers, but Friday night and Saturday we could have a dynamical area of showers, and then even some wet snowflakes in the air. It's all possible, folks. I know it's May, but it's happened before. Well, the rest of my day is filled with a lot of things to do, including unemployment, claim, re-up this morning, and then, bike ride, and I'm having some bike repairs and other stuff done around the house as well. So that's it for today for the video forecast discussion. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith, and again, happy birthday, Mother. You have provided me with a world that I'm in right now. And it's a great world, actually. And it's a great place to be. Happy birthday, Mother.